Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? I know today for most of you guys, including myself, is a holiday. So I'm in the factory right now. And like I said yesterday, I was going to try and do some working out. Get started a bit, but I do have a procedure coming up. It's not a big procedure. It's PRP and stem cells. I'll be doing end of January after OhioCon. Hopefully some of you folks will be out in the Columbus area and check out Media Blasters, and I'll be there in Ohio doing my thing. That's usually the first kind of year. We always call it SnowCon. So let's hope it goes well. Now, where did I leave off yesterday? I left off, I'm on where is Media Blasters and how it started and after the whole breakup I did with CPM. By the way, there's always this rumor that Media Blasters is named Media Blasters because it, blasting media CPM. No such thing. I would have made it a bit more blatant probably. But no, I did have those kind of feelings for it. I was too busy just trying to keep going. As far as, like I said, we're in the factory now. How did we wind up here? Media Blasters, after we kind of split up with CPM, we wound up where one of the reasons I did split up with them was that I felt there was a lot more markets that we weren't hitting. I wanted to do other things. So what I did was I wound up where I did, I did this video, some live action ones. People call the Tokyo Shock. Tokyo Shock was actually started, the name itself, the label, because I did get an acquisition person when I left CPM. She was very good and she had relationships, and one of the companies had a video called Zero Woman. They had Zero Woman, actually Fudo, what else was Samurai Armageddon. And what happened was Zero Woman, the cover was pretty amazing, very sexy, very good. And how I was able to afford to leave and kind of do my own thing was because of the Blockbuster really did love that cover. I'm sure most of you know the name Blockbuster, and back then it was huge. They picked up a ton of it, and that's what happened. That was my first acquisition, and we got it into Blockbuster, if I remember correctly. Well, as far as first acquisition. Now, the name Tokyo Shock, where did it come from, what it was about? Actually, believe it or not, it's a silly story, but what happened was there was this kind of like a flyer I found when we were working in the city. We were at 118 East 28th Street, by the way. And what happened was there was a thing called the Tokyo Shock Boys or the Shock Boys or something like that. So I just thought, wow, Tokyo Shock. And I remember after I saw Fudo, I was like, that movie kind of blew me away. Miike, I didn't really know who he was, what he was doing, who he was, but it really did blow me away. In terms of never seeing anything like that, I actually almost didn't acquire it because it was a bit too crazy, I thought. But I kind of was like, wow, Shock Boys, so Tokyo Shock, that kind of video, maybe we can do more of that. We actually had a few labels back then. Another one was Kaiju Productions, Tokyo Shock Boys, Tokyo Shock, and we had Anime Works, and the first one, the adult animation, was Kitty. And by the way, the first adult video we ever got was Orchid Emblem. It was three of them, Orchid Emblem, Advance Teen, and Battle Team Lakers. We met that company, nice people. They did some really good work. So those were our first ones, and that's what got Media Blasters up and going. As time went on, we were very small. We were like 3-4 people, not even. And what then happened was I kind of decided, let's try to get to a monthly schedule. Let's try to do things that way. Believe it or not, the company that distributed our adult stuff at that time was CPM, even though we split off from them. They were the guys who did distribution. Blockbuster, on the other hand, that was a relationship from a guy I hired who had a friend, and he was a head of sales somewhere else. I'm trying not to mention names because I don't know who wants to be mentioned and who doesn't want to be mentioned of the past. And he's the one who got us into Blockbuster and did that sale. So that got the company up and going. It was that kind of made things work. After that, like I said, we were trying to get to monthly releases, and that's when it really started, and we got into a real flow. I would say our biggest release at that time was probably the biggest first acquisition I would think at that time was Magic Knight Ray Earth. Magic Knight Ray Earth actually really did pretty well. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was a great show. Everyone in the company loved it. At that time, we actually hired even a couple more people, and we were really crowded at 118. But we did do it, and back then, no DVD, all VHS, and we acquired Magic Knight Ray Earth. I would say the sales on it, on Ray Earth, were pretty amazing. Back then, everyone did sub tapes, and we decided to do dub tapes. In fact, dubbing was kind of like, not like it wasn't a good thing, but people didn't do it so much. In fact, people hated dubs. There was the time, this was the dub sub wars time, and we kind of, Blockbuster wanted Zero One, but they wanted it dubbed in English. They didn't really want the subtitle version. So we dubbed that in English from a company on the West Coast, and we knew them, and I'm sure they won't mind. Bang Zoom did, I think, Zero Woman, and then what happened was, with Ray Earth, we decided, let's go all out and let's dub it. It was a lot of episodes, a lot of stuff. So I wasn't sure if it was going to do well enough to cover the dub. Dubs are expensive. Even back then, especially for a small company like us, they were pretty expensive. So we dubbed it, the entire series. That one did really well. And we also moved. The big title, I think that really, well, actually there were two big titles that shot Media Blasters into the stratosphere, I would call it, was Rurouni Kenshin and Invader Zim. Everyone, those were the big ones. The funny thing was, it was a weird way the way we acquired Kenshin. Kenshin was simply because everyone thought Manga Entertainment was going to get it. There was a whole thing about them, and everyone thought they were going to get it. It was already decided. But then what happened was, lo and behold, over years, I guess they went through whatever, and we kept contacting the publisher, and we kept saying, listen, if anything happens, let us know. Anything happens. At that time, I would go to Japan maybe twice a year. And lo and behold, one day, we talk to them and they say, yeah, you could do it. And we were just blown away. Now, a lot of companies heard about it, knew Rurouni Kenshin would sell through the roof, but the price was insane. It was just the price to acquire it. But I went and again, just like the way I am, we signed, we went forward, and we did it. We started to make money, we started to do, that title was just, can't really talk good enough about it. Somehow we pulled it all together, we made some people upset, but we got everything together, and the title was just amazing. The other title too that really went through the roof was Invader Zim. Invader Zim was a whole other thing. Was my daughter, when she was growing up, when she was a baby, she would watch, of course, Nickelodeon as she got older, and I saw her watch this show, Invader Zim. And I didn't know what the hell this show was. She thought it was kind of funny. So I said, maybe that would be a good one for us. But I didn't know. So I said, you know what, I kind of kept it in the back of my mind. And then what happened was, one of the art people, again, not mentioning names, she was an amazing, she worked at Media Blasters forever. She was one of our first ones back in the 118 days. She used to do freelance. Great person. You know, art people can be a little bit, there's always, you know, families have their own issues, but the thing is, in terms of the Media Blaster family, by the way, but she was amazing at her work. And the thing was that she loved Invader Zim too. She also had a relationship with someone she knew at Nickelodeon. So we went there, and what sold them, it took a while. In the beginning, we went there, did our presentation and what, they didn't care. But what they did care about was the person made the Invader Zim box, a mock-up of it. And what the person we did the presentation with left the box on her desk, and I remember she would tell me every day, people would ask, what's that? What's that? She said as time went on. And eventually, took a while, but we got that Zim license. So between Zim and Kenshin, that's when Media Blasters was at its high point. It was really cooking on all cylinders. Everything was going pretty well for it. It was almost like we couldn't do any wrong. The market was just DVDs, Blu-rays, thousands. There was Musicland, there was this, there was that. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say that was kind of our high point, and that was our thing. So someone had an expression actually yesterday I saw was on this documentary. They said, nothing's more exciting than a rising star, but even more exciting than a rising star is a falling star, the story about it.